This is Damon Fordham, adjunct professor of history at the Citadel, and I'm here to tell you this afternoon about a book that's known mostly to those who get deep into religious history and the background of it, called the Book of Enoch. Now, in the Bible that most of us are familiar with, if you take a look inside the Bible on the first chapter of Jude, the first chapter and the 14th verse of the book of Jude, it teaches us as follows. And Enoch also, the seventh from Adam, prophesies of these, saying, Behold, the Lord cometh with 10,000 of his saints. Okay? Now, let me make a disclaimer here. This is not to indoctrinate anybody into any religious belief. This is just something for historical discussion we're going to talk about here, okay? Anyway, so I just read you that book, that section of Jude 1:14, okay? Now, consider what I just said, and in the book of Enoch, in the second chapter, first verse, it says this, Behold, he comes with 10,000 of his saints to execute judgment among them and destroy the wicked and reprove all the carnal for everything which the sinful and ungodly have done and committed against him. Wait, hold on. Now, this Jude first chapter 14th verse says, Behold, the Lord cometh with 10,000 of his saints. The first part of the second chapter of this book of Enoch. Behold, he comes with 10,000 of his saints. Okay, interesting, right? Well, it quotes Enoch as saying that. Now, keep in mind. So it's kind of interesting, right? Well, what else is there in this book of Enoch? Let's take a look here, okay? This book of Enoch, let's see, in the 94th chapter, 6th verse. Woe to those who build unrighteousness and oppression and lay deceit as a foundation, for they shall be suddenly overthrown, and they shall have no peace. Goes on in the, 108th chapter, first verse. And I saw written on them that the generation upon generation shall transgress till a generation of righteousness arises. Interesting stuff, right? And in the book of Enoch, second book of Enoch, 60th chapter, first verse. He who works the killing of a man's soul kills his own soul and kills his own body, and there is no cure for him for all time. Pretty deep stuff, right? So what is this book of Enoch? Well, here's the story. In about 200 years before the birth of Christ, the book of Enoch was very popular among the early Hebrews. But then, as the early Christian church was established, the early Christian fathers felt that this book of Enoch was filled with heresy and against established church dogma. So they banned it. And thus Europe and the Middle Eastern world, they did not know anything of the book of Enoch for the next 1,000+ years. But there was one group of people who kept the book of Enoch, and that was the Ethiopian Orthodox Church down in East Africa. So then in 1773, there was a Scotsman named James Bruce, a Scottish explorer. He came down to Ethiopia, and he happened to come across an Ethiopian Orthodox Bible, and lo and behold, for the first time in over 1,000 years, European eyes laid hold upon this book of Enoch. And he brought it back to Europe, and then he translated it. It had been translated, and then in the late 1800s, R.H. Charles translated the version that most people in the English-speaking world are familiar with today. So, of course, I'm not saying this to sway you any way one or the other with religion, but I think it's a pretty interesting story, and that since people need to get wisdom where they can find it these days, if you want to find some really interesting things, you can look at the book of Enoch and, you just accept what is good and reject what you think is bad and think for yourself and keep it moving. This is Damon Fordham.